if there's anyone in Singaporean film culture who SGIF has to keep happy, it's Benjamin Yap, the man who speaks truth to power.
Did they succeed this year? It's a resounding...
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
Oh.
We'll wait till after the break. I'm Wilson Lai.
I'm Benjamin Yap.
And I'm Eli Sands.
And we're lying. And you're listening to Deep Cut.
On Deep Cut, we compare a director's most popular film with a personal favorite chosen by one of us.
We also discuss that director's life and career to bring in context that helps us view their movies as they may want us to.
If you're enjoying the show, please rate and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts to help others discover the show. Better still, leave a review on Apple Podcasts or comment on episodes directly on Spotify. You can also find us at deepcutpod.com to find links to our socials, Discord, and Patreon.
Well, before I start, Wilson is, as he likes to say,
it's my birthday!
Inebriated.
It's my
birthday, Wilson.
His birthday is in
Yay, Wilson.
1 hour, so we will interrupt this recording with a happy birthday.
I'm sorry, I had a wine pairing for dinner. And it was so good. And I kept on telling the sommelier, oh, this is such a good, like, you're so good at your job. Like, the wine.
He got better and better at his job the more wine that you had.
Yes.
There's a job you can't fail.
No. But yes, just to preempt my sort of state of mind right now, I'm enjoying myself. I am about to celebrate my birthday, which will happen soon. So please stay tuned at least to my birthday, and then you can turn the podcast off after that.
All right. Welcome to our Singapore International Film Festival number 36 dispatch episode. I am so exhausted from doing what feels like back-to-back film festivals. Will I do this again? We'll find out.
Ben's putting in the work.
And also, psych, I got problems with this festival.
Oh, here we go. I have been really anticipating this festival months before the start of the festival because you have really kept me and Eli in the loop with your whole sort of like application process to being the press. Like we do this for all the festivals, but for the SGIF this year, it was really interesting to see the response from this festival when you put it in comparison with all the other festivals that we cover for the podcast, which go over, I guess, really well for us. And we're really excited to cover these festivals. So I guess maybe talk us through sort of that pre-festival process for you, Ben.
I will point everyone now to a piece I wrote about getting this, not press pass, but the Cinephile pass for the festival, which I used last year. And I was pretty happy last year. I think if you listen to our episode again, but I think doing it again this time and then realizing that actually, wait a minute, we should be getting press passes because we have built a platform to talk about films as well as talk about festivals. That is work. And the festival can use us to broadcast their intentions as well as the films that they're doing. And I'm realizing that nature of that relationship. And I think it's less about us wanting a free pass that gives us priority, but more like, if you want us to do proper coverage of the festival, we need better access to the festival. Or at the very least, an idea of what we can get access to. And I think being relegated to this Cinephile pass wasn't the best way of doing it. Example, today I did my interview with Ratchapoom Boonbunchachoke, and I was scrambling to pull strings to get the ticket in because I realized, wait a minute, the Cinephile pass does not let me into this film to watch the film in which I'm about to interview a director today. So I pulled some strings to get myself a confirmed ticket. And I was like, this is not a great situation, because then I was like liaising with the production team. I was like, sorry, I need to make sure I get a ticket. It's weird because they managed to get me a room for the interview, but then no one thought about this ticket, which is like strange.
Because you weren't considered press.
Yeah, and I think that's just like a weird situation. Like, do you want to help me or what's happening here? And like,
or do you want us to help you?
Exactly, yeah. So I think the piece kind of goes into, I'll talk about the piece a bit more later, but I think it kind of put us in a weird position with the festival, which I don't particularly like. But of course, I'm going to go on a bit of a, I would say, rant about the festival right now. But I want to make a very big disclaimer up top that the people I liaise with and the people I see on the ground, like I have zero ill will towards anyone. Like truthfully, absolutely. Because a lot of these people are my friends. A lot of them are underpaid, overworked. Some of these people on the ground are volunteers. They're not being paid. So especially these people, I have no qualms against you. A lot of what I'm going to say is about the intention of the festival and also what a festival really is trying to do and like what is the point of a festival and like what we are trying to cultivate as a festival. And one of the big points I make in my piece is that as a nonprofit, you have a cause. The question is, what is your cause? And your cause can't just be to put up a festival. A festival for what? And I think that what is super important. Right? Because that what tells you what to program and what audience to court. And right now, I think the big criticism for the festival is nobody knows what the what is. And I think it's so obvious for everybody who has done the festival multiple times over the years, seen multiple iterations of the festival over the decades. And like right now, we're like, yeah, the festival is successful in some ways, but no one knows what it's for, who it's for, and what we're doing here. And I think everybody gets what they want out of the festival based on what it's offered, but no one knows if the festival is for them. And I think that's a very important question to answer. And you can't be for everyone. And I think this is my big kind of takeaway is that if you try and please everyone, you please nobody. Especially when this is a festival that also is limited in resources. If you have infinite resources, you can please everyone, but nobody does.
Ben, I think that ties back to your original disclaimer about your relationships with the people who put up this festival, that there's this false idea that any type of criticism or even, sometimes direct or blunt criticism is an insult. It's not. I can say from being in our private group chats and also just from my years of knowing you that you have nothing but the deepest respect for the film workers who work alongside you in Singapore. And I've never heard you say a bad word about a specific person. And you have legitimate frustrations about the sort of film culture and structure that makes that culture possible. And I think my understanding is that the following thoughts are going to be around that structure.
What I've kind of realized is that when I put out that piece, I was afraid of the response. I was like, is this too mean or like, is this too direct? And I've realized that honestly, criticism is love. Like if you are willing to criticize people, it is because
it shows that you care.
Not only do you care, but you also trust that they can take it. And if they can't take it, that's really on them. Because as long as you come from a place of goodwill, the point of criticism is care. And we only criticize because we give a shit. Because if I don't give a shit, I'm not in this country anymore. I'm gone. I cannot cover the festival. I cannot write about it. And I think the fact that people are writing about it shows that people care. And I think that is the most important thing. Because I'm going to say it up front, we'll probably say again that I think I come away from the festival, whatever I'm going to say about it, regardless of how the festival went, like very optimistic about film culture in Singapore. And I'll explain why as I go through what might be the next 30 minutes. Let's find out.
I feel like before we sort of dive in, I do want to sort of like address the big elephant in the film industry room, right? And I feel like tying it to film festivals and how important film festivals still are to our film-going community, and it might be one of the like last bastions of like sort of like celebration of people going to the theaters. I am, of course, talking about sort of this Netflix Warner Brothers acquisition that is like sort of taking over Hollywood. And I think a lot of people are sort of debating whether or not this is like the end of theater going or I guess like this theatrical experience. And I think film festivals, however they may like sort of present themselves and however well or poorly managed they are still like sort of there to bring people together to watch movies, right? And if you're asking a why, that's like the most simple kind of why, right? You're like bringing a community get together that appreciates film and giving them films to watch collectively.
A common refrain I've been telling people is that like Yeah, I mean, I like films, but films are also an excuse to see people like any other hobby.
Yeah.
True.
Right. And so when you take the possibility of meeting people around the idea of this hobby, it kind of makes this hobby harder for more people to get into because the whole point is to commune around a thing. That thing can be anything. It can be freaking crochet. It can be freaking gardening. For us, it is film. And that if you take away the chance to be together, we will all wilt like plants.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
And I'm going to quote myself because I have become this confident, but but in my piece, I wrote this sentence, which I just like, which is that a film festival is a temporal locus of a city's cinema culture, which is a pretentious way of saying it's a time and place in which we all come together to watch movies together.
Yeah.
And knowing that our audience is not largely Singaporean, like I hope this is like an interesting kind of entryway to understand Singapore as a place and a place of film going, for you to understand the state of film going in Singapore and like what kind of festival this is. Maybe the tourism board should give me some money for doing this, but yeah. Like I'm just trying to show you Singapore, warts and all, through this lens of cinema going, and I hope that's interesting to you if you're not from Singapore. And if you're from Singapore, I hope this is interesting to you, see my lens on it. And if you want to debate me on this, perfectly welcome it. DM me if you need.
Yeah. You can email us at hello@deepcutpod.com. We can read your email on air.
Yeah.
I'll also say that sorry, I know we're saying before this rant begins, so one more thing.
So many things.
That one of the things that's always interesting for me, aside from my personal investment in Singapore's film culture as your friend, is that it offers up a mirror for the time and place that I'm in. I think no matter where you are, the example that Ben is about to lay out offers you an opportunity to reflect on the cinema culture of where you are and how you want to engage with it or even help structure it.
Very true.
Okay, I'm going to go into it right now. Okay?
Well, one more thing. No, I'm kidding.
Stop. One of my, I guess I would say like peeves during this festival is that I don't know why, like compared to last year, and I didn't see as many films as I did last year. Operationally on the ground, there seemed to be a lot of confusion. And I'm talking about from the ticketing standpoint. I'm talking from a like Q&A standpoint, like technical stuff. Like, and I was just like, what is going on here? That like, it seems like every different venue I go to has like a different playbook that it felt very confusing. And like partially this kind of relates to the Cinephile Pass, but like the way the rush queue was managed in different screenings, which I understand from whether it's a full house or not, they might do different things. And I don't blame people on the ground because I think somebody needs to come in here and decide how you want to run a queue. And that shit needs to be the same in every fucking venue. Okay, it needs to be the same because I'm at different venues and I would like to have a consistent experience. That's why you're creating this confusion in which like, if I go to one venue and they do one thing and then the other venue does some other thing, then that consumer might start shouting at the other person because they're doing a different thing. But then they didn't know that the other side is doing the different thing. And so I don't know what's going on here. The ticketing operations, for some reason, just feel slightly inconsistent. And you know you're going to do Q&As and like some of the venues, and I don't know whether this is completely the festival team's fault, but like some of the venues, like mics are not working and stuff like that. Like I went to a screening in which the mics were not hooked up, so they used like a karaoke mic that's like a little boombox, and the people in the back could not listen to it. And I was like, holy crap, this is crazy. Like, I can't believe this is happening for a Q&A. Like, it felt a bit embarrassing. Wow. Like, and every cinema I went to only had like 2 mics. And like, even for like the Silent Friend screening with Tony Leung, at the start of the Q&A where they opened to the floor, but like, oh, we only have 2 mics. Can you just shout your question? I was like, bro.
Whoa, shouting your question at Tony Leung.
Hella embarrassing. Like, this cannot happen. And like, if you know that the venue only has 2 mics, you need to tell them you need more because you know how these things go. And like, not just with Tony Leung, for every bloody Q&A, regardless of whether a big star is there or not, you need to have a consistent experience. And I have just come from the Tokyo International Film Festival, which was like slick. Everything operationally, exactly the same at every single venue. Like no hiccups, never a hiccup. And extremely predictable. Like even something like, how do you close a Q&A? What do you say? Do you let the guests leave first? Like stuff like that is inconsistent on different screenings. And I was like, this is really weird. Like every screening should just have the same playbook. Yeah. And I know people like hate SOPs and all the shit, which is like standard operating procedure, but like just have something so that everyone knows what we're playing off of.
Oh yeah, it's really interesting because Eli and I both like have done these sort of like, we've all done dispatch episodes and like never in our previous history of like talking about it have we all talked about operational like difficulties as a complaint, because it's like such a given that a film festival is run well. And I'm like, oh wow, actually my problem is with the programming or something else.
Yeah.
Like it's not like with how the festival is being run.
Baseline, what is Film Festival doing? I'm screening films for people to watch. You need to nail that. 100%. I'm okay with a mistake, a technical error, whatever. But 100%, you need to have a game plan for every bloody screening. This is not your bloody first rodeo, okay? It is not your first rodeo. You gotta nail this.
That ties back to the overall mission statement and question you're asking, Ben, around how and why are you bringing people together to have a common experience?
Yeah.
There needs to be consistency in order to create that temporal locus in the first place.
And so I think this is why it's important that it's about intention. Because I think if you set intention right, then everybody knows the most important thing. For example, if I was to say the most important thing is the audience experience of a film and a Q&A. And then that leads on to, okay, I need to make sure the hospitality for my guests is also important. But the hospitality of my guests actually doesn't trump the audience. But then I gotta make sure that there will be bad actors in the audience. So I need to make sure that audience members do not jump my guests. Very important as well. I need security. So these things lead on from what is your core thing? What are you doing? Most important. And at the end of the day, you are showing movies. All right. Your ticketing queue cannot be confusing. I was in the rush queue for Silent Friend. And then at one point, they pushed the rush queue into the queue for getting in with a ticket. And then people with tickets started lining up behind us. And then I was like, guys, there are people behind us with tickets. They need to go past us. And people are just confused. And this is like a major part of it. And then we got to get so many people into the theater, right? So that Tony can come in. I was like, guys. Yeah. And I was just like, even if this happens for one screening, I really shouldn't. Because and I was seeing it at multiple screenings, some kind of hiccup. And I'm just like, solve this first. I don't really care about anything else right now. You can show me freaking Shrek for every screening, but every Shrek screening needs to be slick. Okay. You can do Shrek Film Festival. I don't give a shit. Okay.
Shrek International Film Festival.
And I think also this leads on to a disparity between a high prestige and low prestige screening, where I feel like the high prestige ones get more care. And I don't like that. Right. I can see when the star is here, everybody's here. And sometimes too many people are here and I want to see them go away.
Oh my God.
Right? Another pet peeve is Q&As. If you want to hire me as a consultant, I'll be a consultant, okay? Q&As.
Yes.
Example, I was at a Q&A where there was a panel of people, actor, cast, director. There was 5 people. And then there was a person that I believe, cannot confirm, is from the SGIF team doing social media. This person was straight up sitting 1 meter away from the guests, on the ground, taking social media videos of them talking.
For how long?
The whole Q&A. And then sometimes you just sit down cross-legged in front of the panel, 1 meter in front of them, looking at the footage she just did. And I was like...
With everyone in the audience sitting, watching her?
Behind her, yeah. I was like...
oh my God.
I know you need to get the content, but this looks really weird. Okay? And she's literally putting her phone in the person's face, taking the video. Okay, great, you got a great shot, but it looks really weird.
And just go, right? After one soundbite, just go, leave.
Or get a telephoto lens so that it looks like you're closer than you are.
And I just this just looks so weird to me. And this was maybe, I wouldn't call this a low prestige screening, but still. And then even something when we did the Resurrection screening, I'm getting into the nitty gritty, but I need to give you examples. Also, I'm just talking out my ass, right? So for example, Resurrection screening, difficult because we got Bigan on the screen, big faced, and Shu Qi in person in front of the screen, moderator, program director who's also the guy asking questions, translator, as well as a member of the distribution team from Resurrection who was kind of running the show because she was doing some of the thing. But I was this is a weird relationship. You cannot have the production team running the show for you. You need to run the show as the festival. You do not let them control what's going on, because she was coming in, speaking in Mandarin, and then was I'm not going to translate everything I say. And I was no, I'm sorry. We're in Singapore. You need to translate everything that you say. It's disrespectful to an audience that might not be entirely Chinese.
That's true.
And you need to set some standards as the festival team. You cannot let the distribution or production team run over you like this, because you control the experience.
Yeah.
Okay? And then on top of that, it's okay, Shu Qi's here, then all these people, big face, big gun on the screen. And then on the wings of the front of the theater, I don't know why there's 30 people just standing on the wings. And I'm oof. these people need to go. Only
Shu
essential
Qi
people.
security.
I was like, not security. Well, I was just like, I think it's like some people holding flowers. I think like staff. I'm like, guys, go away. You're not supposed to be here right now, I think. Like security, I'm okay. But like, this looks weird. Like, this looks unprofessional. And I think this is like...
Sounds janky.
It's hella jank, man. I'm like, this does not hold muster because this is just like, if you want to be this prestigious festival, you need to know what that looks like. And I have seen what that looks like now. And I'm like, okay, we're really at the bottom of the ocean right now, based on just like operational stuff that like, we need to make that land next time. And it's okay if it's still not perfect. I'm okay with that. But like, I think you need to set the intention because people can feel the intention. But the inconsistency just feels so palpable that like, it's confusing watching this festival.
Mm-hmm. Boo, before we go further, because I feel like there are a lot of viewers that are not from Singapore and viewers or listeners that haven't listened to our previous SGIS episode. Could you explain like your capacity of covering this festival? Because like, what is the Cinephile Pass? Or like, is it free? Like,
we'll talk about this right now. Like, so basically, I didn't get a press pass for this. Kind of like my time at Tokyo and like Wilson's time at Hong Kong and like Eli's time at New York Film Festival. So I don't know why I couldn't get this press pass. And to be fair, they did ask what I would do if I got the press pass, but no one else asked me that. So I was like, I don't want to answer this question. So I was like, I'm going to do the Cinephile Pass. So the Cinephile Pass is a thing that I don't think I've seen any other place do. You apply for this, and I didn't have to apply for it because I got grandfathered in because I got a pass last year. But you apply for it, you kind of have to prove that you're a cinephile of some sort, and then you also have to promise to write 3 or make 3 pieces of content online, and then you also need to donate $50 to the festival to get this pass. What's the privilege of the pass? The privilege of the pass is that you get the pass, you are allowed to join. I mean, everyone's allowed to join the rush queue, but when you join the rush queue, if you get a ticket, it's free. Or rather, it's paid for with your $50. But that means that if you don't get in, you don't get in. Because the rush queue is the lowest priority on this chain. Other passes, press passes, which do exist, by the way, some of these pro passes, which I don't really know how you get. I think if your film is in the festival, you get a pro pass. And that I think gets complimentary tickets, but those are limited quantity. Because if they run out, then you end up in the rush queue as well.
I feel like you're explaining a board game on the level of Eclipse to me right now.
The problem with the rush queue is that, like, okay, first of all, it's a marketing problem. Like, you call this a cinephile pass, but I don't really feel like a cinephile using it. Like, if you call this a rush queue pass, sure, it's a good deal if I get into all the films I want to get into. If I watch at least 5 films, a good deal. But you call it a cinephile pass, but it doesn't feel like a cinephile experience. It's the big criticism I have, really.
And promising to promote the thing is like, kind of, I don't like that.
Yeah, and I gotta pay money for this, and like I have to write for you. I gotta make content for you. Like, wait, I pay you to work? Like, that makes no sense.
It's a real accessibility issue, especially to like a lot of people who are up and coming, running blogs, like really trying to get into like the criticism industry. Think about Singapore, right? And then like are not as like wealthy that want to like cover a festival. Like, there's really no opportunity for them to do that without paying the $50, which is crazy because I feel like other festivals would allow it, especially from local talent. You're like trying to foster a local film going community that by supporting critics, like local up and coming critics, you support the film community.
And yourself in the long run.
I'm not gonna name things, but this is what I've learned just chatting with people. I met somebody with a press pass, and they are writing for a publication that I'm going to tell you right now, they have less than 10,000 followers on Instagram. And they're not like they're not like IndieWire, they're not like fucking Variety, Deadline. But this person got a press pass. But this person is not from Singapore. They're probably bigger than us. But I'm just saying that like I feel like it's because I'm here that they don't respect me as much. And this is a very Singaporean problem. Like, we don't respect each other. And I do not like that.
When compared to international visitors?
Yeah, it's like, oh. And the thing is, if you want to build something, of course, we're going to start from fucking zero, right? Like, and if I started from zero, you got to help me. You're in a position to help me. And we're not starting from zero here with Deep Cut.
No.
Anyway, I need to move on, or else this will take forever.
Sorry. This is fun, though. This is the spicy part of the episode.
Yeah. Anyway, I need to get into this part, which I also got into last year. This year is another year that IMDA, the media authority in Singapore, if you're not from here, has banned another film from a Singaporean filmmaker. Okay, this time it's a short film. They've banned this film called Proposals for the Interpretation of a Dream, directed by Nurayan Amin. She's, I think, based in France possibly, but It's kind of a France, Singapore, Malaysia production. And if you read the rating online, it's because of its depictions of Islam that the Muslim Association here says is like an incorrect view of Islam. I don't want to get into the weeds of like religion and stuff like that. But what I want to say is that the IMDA funds the majority of SGIF's funding. And these are local filmmakers. And for SGIF to be funded by a body that then also funds another body that then comes around to ban a film that the programmers here are programming, like what does that say here? It's like the left hand is punching the right hand kind of like feeling. If the programmers here think that this is something that you can see, the people who are saying you can't see are basically saying that their judgment is wrong. And I think there's something very wrong with the way that things are running when you take money from an organization that also is policing you in this way. Also, I want to say that like banning films only from Singaporean filmmakers usually, especially from Singaporean filmmakers like last year, is really irritating because the IMDA will fund films from other countries, will screen films from other countries with anti-establishment ideas, but when it comes from inside the house, nope. And that is really quite screwed up, I think.
Yeah.
I think this obviously speaks to a larger like state problem, but I'm going to conjure a proposal for next year for the Singaporeans listening in, if you happen to be listening this far into the bloody episode. I was just thinking about it. I was like, honestly, like if another Singaporean film gets banned, all the Singaporean filmmakers just need to pull out the festival. And we should just all boycott it. And obviously it's going to be hard to ask the audience to boycott this, but like if you're a Singaporean filmmaker and like your film is in the festival and then another Singaporean gets their film banned, you should just pull out because that festival and that organization that funds that festival does not support Singaporeans as a whole. So just pull out. Because if we're not standing in solidarity with each other, then we will never move forward with these freaking draconian censorship shit. Like, I mean, if you want to slap some like fucked up rating on this, sure, whatever. But like, at least let it screen. And if anything, it helps you not give the Streisand effect to this film that you're trying to ban anyway. And it lets the artists like put their films out into the public space to be critiqued if they need to be critiqued. And also, banning films is insulting to us as film goers, because what you're saying is that the Singaporean audience is not intelligent enough to watch something that might be possibly offensive, possibly inciting, and not do anything. Which, first of all, we're not going to do shit. One of the most sedate countries in the world, okay? And to insult us and say that, oh, you can't watch this, because if you watch this, you're going to go like berserk, is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And insulting, okay? So that's my piece on this. And IMDb, if you're listening to this, you want to like fucking slap a puff on me, I don't give a shit. Go ahead. This will just give us more press. I'm okay with that.
I would be really fascinated if anyone from SGIF is listening to this and is like willing to come and like, I don't know, do an interview and like answer questions about how the festivals run, reach out to us. Like, I think that would be fascinating. And yeah, get to the bottom of this.
Anyway, my rant is almost over. And just to like mention this, I did this like event with SGIF, which is called the SGI, which is Singapore Industry Film Feud, which is basically Family Feud, but with questions about where cinema culture is going in Singapore.
Oh, wow.
So it's just like this weird thing I did. I don't know if I should have done this, but it was fun, I guess. And I think the idea was to like incite interesting conversations that ask like harder questions. But I mean, it was fun enough. I think we almost got to like pretty incisive places, but then we stopped, which is unfortunate. Like, I kind of wish we went in harder on some of these harder questions, but it's okay. Anyway, now I'm going to go into stuff that's actually great about being at a festival. Here's like stuff that doesn't matter who runs the festival, because I think in recent years, I've learned that it's more important what people do on the ground. And it is more indicative of like what cinema culture is like in Singapore. So first thing I want to shout out is my friend Sasha and her friend Tracy. They ran this publication called The Daily under a larger publication that they're planning called Correspondence, where they published a physical daily newspaper during the festival.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Over the 12 days of the festival. And so this is where my piece on the Cinephile Pass is there. So I will link that in the description. I'll link Correspondence as well. And this is something, I was just talking to Sasha literally like 2 hours ago, and she and Tracy came out with this idea 1 month ago because they saw it at a different festival and they're like, this is cool, we need to do this. So then they wrangled writers together to do this, and then they like printed these and like hand-folded these things, put them in certain locations so that people could read them. And they got really good buzz. And people are reading this, and it's not just film reviews. It's like writings about the festival, writings about personal reflections on a festival, personal reflections about cinema, you know what I mean? And like critiques and like also like context to films that are in the festival that maybe the festival itself might not put out because they need to maintain relationships. So this independence and like this kind of scrappiness and like just doing shit because you can, because who's stopping you from doing shit? That kind of energy I freaking love.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think Correspondence is like a highlight, I think, for me and like thinking about what cinema culture is, which is that we control that. And when I say we, I mean like you don't need to wait for the festival to tell you what you can do. You just do it. And like whether it's like a dispatch episode, a publication, your own writing, just freaking do something. And more importantly, I think the Daily also brought us all together because people are like talking about the pieces.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
My piece like caught, I think maybe one of the most read pieces of writing I've written in the last few years because it was just like an issue and then people were like, holy shit. And I'm just hoping that that piece just like sparks a conversation about what a festival is and what it's for and like what a pass means and like how we should be thinking about these things. Like the past is really non-material to me. I don't really care that much about the past, to be honest, but it is a jumping off point for thinking about the festival as a whole.
It's symptomatic of a larger thing.
Exactly. So honestly, Daily, check it out. I will plug them. This is great. And I don't know what else they're doing. I think they're planning some monthly stuff possibly. They're not promising anything yet, but I'm really looking forward to what Sasha and Tracy are going to be doing with this Correspondence publication.
That's great. We'll link it in the episode notes.
Yeah. And connected to this is that they use a bit of money that was funding a different thing, which I'm going to talk about right now, to kind of fund their publication, if I'm not wrong. And it's called FFIGS with 2 Fs. If you look at it, it's actually SGIF backwards.
True.
So FFIGS is this thing that happened with a bunch of like cinema people who are a little bit annoyed maybe at SGIF or like are like looking for something different from SGIF or like trying to do some counter programming. I don't want to say they're annoyed, but like that's my words. And so they came up with this idea of putting up a festival lounge that is not related to the festival during the festival. And they got a grant from the Goethe Institute to do this at the Goethe Institute in a basement. And so, I mean, I went, like, I don't think it was like popping or anything. Like, it was like pretty low key, but I went a few times and like, it was really nice to just like have us just do stuff on our own in a way that's independent. I mean, yeah, I needed some Goethe money and like Goethe space, but seeing what we are interested in. And I think optimistically, it's just saying that people here care and like we're looking for a way to commune about movies. A lot of people running the lounge were not able to watch that many movies because they were running the lounge. But I think it still gives you a sense of like what people care about. And I want to highlight like 2 things that they ran during the FFIGS lounge, which is ran throughout the festival, which was like some like counter programming. The first one is called Transgressions or First Shorts Exchange. So this is a program that a filmmaker from Singapore called Zhang, he put together where he's a teacher at Republic Polytechnic. And then he basically runs this program, I think yearly in the Polytechnic, where he gets his students to collaborate with other countries to make films over a 10-day period with other countries. These are very amateurish, very almost like incomplete films because it's like a 10-day, basically a 10-day film challenge. They're very well written, no, some of them are incomplete. But most importantly, I think, is that like he gives them the space to show them. He contacted FFIGS to say he wants to show them here. And the filmmakers were there to do like a Q&A. There was a trailer before the films came out. And I think that trailer is more important when you think about his approach to teaching them, where he was like, failure is allowed here. If anything, failure is the point. Where he's trying to encourage like making films. And I think when I listen to these younger people talk about their process of making films and like what they think about the films, it's like such a positive thing where they're like looking forward to the future. It is not like a doom and gloom thing. It's not about achievement. It's not about whether the film is good. It's about what have you made? What have you achieved? What have you done? Right? What is the process like? And I love that ethos.
Really cool.
And I think we need more of that. Because if you think about like most film festivals, it's about like which is the best film, blah, blah, blah. And here it's like, no, it's like, what do these kids care about? Like a lot of the films had like mental health themes, I think because that was like the topic. And I was like, okay, it's like interesting to see what younger people and like how they try and express themselves through the filmic medium to talk about their problems or to talk about what they think about mental health issues.
Yeah.
And like they're imperfect for sure, but yeah, like, I think the ethos is important. And we need more of that in film everywhere, to be honest.
Yeah, I love that.
That's great.
I talked to the guy that's teaching the course, this filmmaker. I was like, what would your deep cut be? Because I was like, what if we get him on the podcast?
Oh.
He said, Crybaby John Waters.
Wow.
Cool. Oh my
That's
gosh.
a good deep cut. I haven't seen it, but it's John Waters. And he was like, I love bad movies.
We should.
So maybe that's coming up.
Should
We'll
do
see.
John Waters. Oh, I wonder if we could get John Waters on.
They also, oh yeah. And then another one was like they ran like a rejected film potluck where people came on and like showed the rejected films from the festival.
Oh, that's so funny. I like that.
It's just
I
cute.
like that.
Yeah. I come away from this and like seeing my friends that I made last year during the festival and seeing them again, meeting all the other friends I met over the year through FFF, which is this thing my friend Judith has started, which is like a film community thing. It's like, yeah, there's a lot of people that want to commune around something, and it just happens to be that it's film, and that we are all earnest about this, like, and that there is collective community energy to tap on. And we do need some support from institutions to not exploit the energy, but to collaborate with that energy so that we can all benefit together. Because at the end of the day, we all want the same shit, which is to watch good movies and hang out with each other. That makes sense. Like, that is the point of existence, guys. Okay, maybe you can swap out movies, can be whatever it is, but that is the point of existence. And like, this can apply to literally anything. So I'm hopeful about the future. I'm hopeful about the next year's SGIF as well. And I'm hopeful for the year and like see what other people do, see what Sasha and Tracy do with Correspondence and what else comes out from this. Because I think at the very least, like, I was partaking in a lot of interesting conversations during the festival that I think give me hope for the future. But I am a generally hopeful, optimistic person.
I feel optimistic hearing your report.
Yeah, me too. I feel like it's so much easier for you to change an institution than for you to sort of like build community. And it feels like the community is already there. It's just like sort of the infrastructure of SGIF is not able to support a community, or like just like I guess willing to support a community. And it would be a much more like harmonious kind of experience if it was there for you, and it would become such a special festival.
I mean, I admit that SGIF is in a bad position where, like, because of the sponsorships, because of the money, they have stakeholders that they need to appease. But I think you really have to think long and hard. When you have money coming in and that money is dictating what you need to do, how much does that corrupt what you're trying to actually achieve?
Yeah.
I know it's a very difficult balance, but a nonprofit in a capitalistic world runs into this problem, which is that your customer is now not the film goer. Your customer is a donor. And that's a very bad position to be in. Because if you get a donor that wants more from you than you want to give, I don't know, there's a stain on like what you're actually doing.
It's a conflict of interest.
It's a huge conflict of interest. And I think something to think about. I mean, my huge hot take is that stop taking money for IMDA, but no one's going to do that because they need it, quote unquote, to survive. But maybe if somebody has the balls to say, I'm not taking this unless you take the strings off, you're going to always have to deal with the strings. And thinking about, are you making decisions that benefit the larger community? Or are you making decisions that benefit just SGIF itself and its own prestige? Because I think sometimes that is not, the prestige of the festival does not necessarily mean good for the community. So these are things to ask yourselves. Yeah, and then if you're a person like wondering why are things so weird, like maybe think about like that thinking. It's like, who is this actually benefiting? Who made this choice and why? And that helps you understand. And if you follow the money never lies. Anyway, let's talk about some fucking movies.
Let's go.
The money Wilson lie.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Wilson's
Okay.
a big liar.
It's true. It's happened on Mike so many times.
Well, my first name is literally an anagram of lie.
You did right.
I'm the
right.
only person that tells the truth here.
Yeah. Truthful Ben Yap.
I have organized my 14 screenings into geographic groups. I was like, how do I make this simpler? Let me just do geographic groups.
That's fine.
We'll begin with Japan because we are just listening to the Tokyo International Festival. We're still in Japan, haven't left. I watched 3 films from Japan somehow, for some reason. The groups get way vaguer. So I'm sorry, I'm not preferentially treating Japan in a like special way. It's just how it is.
Ben and I were talking about how to structure this before the recording. And it was like, oh, yeah, Japan's a pretty specific group. And the other ones were like, oh, you'll see. You'll see.
Japan and then not Japan. There's just 2 sections to this episode.
All right, first film I'm going to talk about, Bye Bye Love, directed by Fujisawa Isao. Only film this man has ever directed. He was in attendance. This was part of the Landmark program, which is co-presented with Asian Film Archive, which is full of like classic films, like The Arch. If you saw, listen to our episode
Yes.
on The Arch. And I forget when Bye Bye Love is from, but it's like from the 70s, I think, or the 80s. I'm not sure. Somebody look this up.
1974.
Yeah, 70s. I was right the first time. The film is sort of a Bonnie and Clyde send-up where this man who's like sort of like a petty thief runs into a woman and then like they start going on a road trip adventure kind of thing, doing crimes. But the twist is that it is a transgender woman. And he finds that out later in the story. But they kind of like have a romantic dalliance and do stuff. It doesn't really have much of a plot. It's kind of like stuff, but it's like pretty transgressive in that time. And she kind of plays this non-binary character. And the guy's like, at first wants to sleep with her and then finds out that he realizes she's a man, quote unquote, and then like is a bit perturbed, but then like is still continuing to run with her. And they kind of just go off and do stuff. I watched this a while ago, so like it's kind of foggy on the details. But I will say that this is very enjoyable if you're looking for something a bit like countercultural, kind of like interesting vibe. And it has a great sex scene which involves electricity.
Oh, this is exciting.
Yeah, it's like super like what the hell is going on? Where basically they decide. I'm just gonna spoil it, but like you gotta watch it.
Wait, no, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it. I have a screener of this movie. I'm gonna watch it.
Okay, so it's electricity, but like it's like an interesting. It's like the highlight of the film for me. I was like, whoa, what's going on here? And it's like, yeah, like it's kind of an interesting film about being on the margins, I guess, but it's not really that deep. And then I asked the question, I was like, oh, is this like responding to like some sort of like cultural milieu at the time, et cetera, et cetera? And he was like, no.
That's so funny.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, okay. But I think based on the context of it, I think he's just a guy that wanted to make a movie at the time, scraped together some money, got some help, made the movie. And I think the film is a film that's, I think, more influenced by films. And I think its countercultural elements are like stuff of the time that is like interesting to kind of spice up the film. You know, in a way, I would say, you could say sort of an exploitation film in that sense.
That word just came to mind, yeah.
But I think still like not done in a way that's like extremely exploitative, but definitely with a sort of exploitative intention to like make something interesting. And then like for some reason in the Q&A we were talking about like pink films. Somebody asked a question about pink films.
Of course. Yeah. A quick shout out to my friends Ariel and Pearl at Connie Releasing. They are putting out Bye Bye Love in the US.
No way.
And they were very like involved with the restoration, I think, and also the acquisition. And they've been doing a lot of like work with really going into like more obscure Japanese work that is sort of like queer leaning and sort of counterculture role. And they have a few movies or short films that are sort of in that realm. So like just keep an eye out if you're in the US and Canada for their programming and their discs. They're like really great. And also keep an eye out for our interview, which we'll get into this like a little more coming in February.
Sorry, it just reminded me about the kind of context of the film's existence in the program, which is that it was discovered in like 2017.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like rediscovered, like it was lost for a long time. And then I don't know how they found it. Then it was found and restored. And that's why it's in this kind of AFA program. So it's like one of these like lost films that were found. And to go off on the Connie Releasing, like I watched a bunch of Marita films recently. I saw the 2 pink films that they are releasing, Top Stripper and Pink Cut. Highly recommend Pink Cut if you can watch it. Anyway, the other one, Top Stripper, not that great. Not the Top Stripper.
That's the porn parody of Deep Cut.
Yeah, anyway. I'm going to move on to my next film. It's called How Dare You, ? Directed by Mipo O. This is a film that I was asked to kind of host a discussion after with the cinephiles, but like 3 people showed up. Anyway, I watched this on the screener because I was like, I needed to prepare for the discussion. This is a film about 3 elementary school students who kind of band together to do eco-terrorism because adults are destroying the world.
Whoa.
This is like how to blow up a pipeline for babies.
Yes. That's incredible.
Sounds
yes.
Awesome. I'm sold.
But I'm sorry to
but it's not good.
say that it's not quite how to blow up a pipeline for babies. Okay? I was just literally 1 hour ago having a discussion with my friend who did like the movie. And I think its posturing of like global warming is nice. And like, I completely agree with the kids. Like, yes, the adults are fucking things up. And so they're like basically like doing babies first terrorism. Like they're like making notes out of like magazine words and then slapping them on cars. And then they're like throwing like those planes that are like powered by like some kind of propellant, like toy planes, and like blasting them at butchers, tell people to stop eating meat. And then their big heist is they let some cows out of a ranch.
That's so sweet.
Yeah. But because the film kind of condescends to the kids a little bit, at the end, the way it ends is a little bit conformist, I would say. And the main character, and I call him the main character because he's the kid in which we see his family life at home. His main reasoning for joining this crew is that he has a crush on a girl who is like a Greta Thunberg type. She's inspired by Greta Thunberg. It never changes. He doesn't ever like really fully subscribe to this thing. He just has a crush on her. And I think because of that, the film kind of falls flat for me from an environmentalist standpoint. It is cute, but I think the global warming stuff kind of just gets subjugated to like, oh, kids just kind of do funny, cute things. I'm like, yeah, but they're also right.
That feels like the film is also not just condescending to kids, but assuming that the audience is kind of centrist. In a way that honestly I feel a little bit about One Battle After Another.
No, I knew you were going to fucking say that. Stop.
This is an interesting thing. We're not going to talk about this right now. We will talk about this on our year-end episode. But interesting, definitely interesting reference. I definitely thought about that.
I'm ready to fight. Stay tuned.
I don't want to fight. I don't want to have a conversation about this movie.
No.
My friend made a point of like, she liked it because she said that, oh, it's for a lot of people, they don't want to hear an environmental message. So like this is a way to kind of get an environmental message across your face. Maybe. And I kind of see that point. But at the end of the day, like we kind of just land on this like, oh, they stopped doing this because the group just kind of like fizzles out. But yeah. So a little bit conformist at the end.
And you can think about that ending in comparison with the One Battle After Another ending, which I think is pretty perfect.
Anyway, we're not going to get to that. Moving on.
Yet.
Moving on to Two Seasons, Two Strangers, directed by Miyake Show. This won the Golden Leopard at Locarno this year. I watched it once in Tokyo without English subtitles, and I was like, film's kind of like whatever. Let me watch it with subtitles and see what I actually missed to see whether there was any profundity in dialogue. There is none. This film is about nothing. This film was actually based on some like stories from a graphic novelist, of kind of a classic graphic novelist. I don't have the name right now. And then he kind of jammed two stories together. And the film was, he moved away from plot, and it's what he's trying to say in the Q&A. But like, this is really about like nothing. There's no emotion in this really. It's a film about a Korean woman who speaks fairly fluent Japanese, who works as a screenwriter in Japan. And the first story is a film that she wrote. The second story is her going to, I think, some snowy place to live in an inn to write a different story.
Structurally sounds interesting.
It's structurally interesting, but like nothing really of note happens in these. And like it's very, very sedate. And I'm like, if it's like fun road movie, yeah. Because the first story is about a young boy and a young girl meeting in a remote town on holiday, and they kind of have a connection and they swim into the ocean. But like, just not fun. Because like, if you want to do a film like this, it's gotta be fun. And like, I think some people did enjoy like, oh, it's like calm and stuff. But I'm like, this feels a bit like doing Japan for other countries to see.
Sho Miyake does not have the juice. I will say this. He lost the juice 2 movies ago.
He's been going down my esteem like every movie. I have beef with this guy. Even my essay on him,
man.
I had beef with it. You know what I mean? Like, what is this man doing? Yeah, anyway.
Small Slopa said he was good.
Yeah, it's good, but got some problems for me.
I know. All the long nights, more problems. And then here we are.
What is this movie? And then let's give it a prize. I don't know. I'm sorry.
Oh, wow.
There are people who are in the tank for this. Sure. I'm just not that guy. Okay, I'm going to go on to a bit of a tangent.
Yes.
Because I was supposed to do this at the top, but I forgot. I have ranted a lot about the festival team, but I will also say that the Singaporean audience is very fickle and very annoying. Okay, so I'm going to complain about some shit. We need better manners as an audience. Okay, first thing, fucking phones again.
No.
Okay, and festival team, I think you need to police this shit, because if people want to watch movies, they need to fucking put their phones away.
Why are you doing this at a film festival? That's insane.
I don't know, man. People just want to see stars and don't give a shit. Second thing is, I don't know why, but there's some Q&As I go to and people ask the weirdest questions, guys. Just like, enough with the weird questions. And please, if you do not speak fluent Japanese, do not ask your question in Japanese. Okay? Okay, I'm about to call out a person I do not know, but like, I'm sorry if you're listening to this, but if you're listening to this, and you need to stop, okay? This person at this Miyake screening asked a question in which she clearly fed into Google Translate and then read out in Japanese. And I was like, first of all, this is phrased a little rudely, and it's very long. She asked 3 questions. The moderator does not speak Japanese, and the translator doesn't know whether she should do anything about this. And she asked 3 really weird questions. And I was like, what?
God.
And like, I think people need to like put their foot down. Like, do not ask questions in a language you do not fluently speak. It's confusing for the translators. And like a lot of the translators, I would say, are like not necessarily like professional translators.
Yeah. It's devaluing their presence as well, right? You're like, it's such as like, you're slapping the face. It's so rude.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rude to the guest as well. Like assuming, oh, I can just put 2 seconds into looking up your language and make myself understood by you.
You want to say one arigato gozaimasu? Sure. Okay, I'll let it be. But do not ask your question that is like 5 minutes when no one can police what you're saying because no one knows what you're saying.
So poorly thought through.
I would definitely say an arigato gozaimasu after asking
One arigato, you're good. Okay, anything more with your level of Japanese, Wilson, is rude. Okay.
Well, yeah, cut to our Tokyo International Film Festival start of our episode.
Yeah. Well, you know what this person asked? First question, she asked, why do you think Japan has such great animated films? This film is not even animated.
What?
The weebs are out of control. I'm sorry. As a weeb myself.
Why do you think America has such great hamburgers? I don't know.
Okay. Anyway,
It's just a
so
thing.
people need better manners in the cinema, in the Q&As. Like, don't hog the mic. Be freaking courteous. Ask your question and shut up. Okay, there's not enough time for everyone.
Arigato.
My God. Anyway, moving on. So that was Japan. We're going to now move to the rest of Asia that's not Southeast Asia.
Nice.
This is a big category.
I like this, including South Asia and East Asia.
Because I only watched one South Asian movie and I was like, let's just put them all together. We're going to start with the festival opener, Girl, directed by Shu Qi. Who,
Girl, it's so confusing sometimes. to be
girl,
a
so
girl,
beautiful.
girl.
I am floored in Shu Qi's
Oh my
presence.
God.
Anyway, unfortunately, movie okay to me. Okay.
Yeah, I've heard mixed things.
Yeah, I understand. But I've heard people go to bat with this and I see how it is. And I think a big thing that's annoying me is that people keep talking about Ho Xiaoxian because like they connect her a lot with Ho Xiaoxian for some weird reason.
Well, Millennium Mambo, right?
Yeah, because she was in Millennium Mambo and like that bridge in Millennium Mambo shows up in this. But her style is very not Ho Xiaoxian. And I think that is the best part of the movie. Like she has an interesting approach to how she's doing this. It's kind of like sort of like memory based and like sometimes you don't know whether something is real or not. And like moving camera sometimes but not always and like reframing and has a sort of sometimes lyrical quality to it. And I think that is like the most promising part of the film. And like I would love to see Shu Qi make another film. The thing I don't really like about it is that I think people that call it kind of like miserablest trauma porn is a bit maybe too much. But it is kind of in that mode where it's like, oh, there's a young girl, home life sucks because her mom is so shitty to her, but the mom also is dealing with like a really shitty husband. And then the trickle down effects of like that shittiness to her. And then like,
Ew, trickle down shit.
yeah. So like, I think
Ew.
the problem isn't that premise. The problem is that that's the whole film over and over again. There's a bright spot, which is like she meets a girl, transfer student who grew up in America, speaks English, a bit bubblier, and then like that person sort of adopts her as a friend and go on a little adventure. But that thing happens like maybe like more than halfway through the film before the person is introduced. That I thought she would come way earlier. And like that feels like a B plot when I thought it was going to be the A plot. And the A plot is really just this constant miserableness.
Damn.
And the film tries to end on this note where it's kind of like an epilogue, years in the future where she visits her mother in her childhood home. And I think that hit for some people, but it didn't make sense to me because I was like, I don't really know how this works because I never saw any like real tenderness between the mother and her where like you understand maybe why the mother is a mother or like why the mother might stick with the husband who sucks You know, like I know, like, yeah, the time sometimes like people can't get out with like bad relationships, but like, I don't know. But apparently she drew from like her own memories and stuff. So, I mean, I don't want to say that her memories are wrong, but it's more like what can a movie be? You know, I don't want to say what a movie should be, but like, where can we twist this to make this maybe a more interesting movie to watch? It can't just be pure memory exercise.
This sounds like it has elements of Andrea Arnold's Fish Tank in the mother and daughter relationship.
I don't know. I think this just needed like a bit more of a plot. I will say that about a lot of movies, but it's like, I think a plot will give this a bit something to chew on. Or like, if we're working towards something, it doesn't have to be a big thing. It will make sense of this.
We haven't talked about Die My Love yet, but that is one that I feel like needed more of a something.
It's not an easy movie. It's not an easy movie to watch.
A little tidbit I got from Nat, who like followed Shu Qi one whole day and went to the In Conversation. And
That's awesome.
friend of the pod, Natalie, is going to bat for this film. She likes this film a lot. So if you're somebody that likes it and you want to like see what she's thinking about it, like I think she's somebody that if you're looking for a more similar experience, like you can hear what she thinks about it. Because if you connected with it, maybe that stuff that she's coming from Nat might make more sense.
Hi, Nat.
Shu Qi said that the epilogue, which I don't really think works, was not Shu Qi's intention. She didn't want it in, but then she kept it in because the editor, who is, I forgot the name, but established, thought it would work better. But she would still prefer to not have the epilogue. Yeah, so I think that's interesting because the epilogue buttons things up. But if she wanted to make this lyrical piece about thinking about her trauma from childhood, it kind of makes sense to not go back, to not see the future.
Yeah.
More so. Then that would actually make more sense. I think the epilogue kind of sends us in a direction of like wanting closure, which I think is not earned. And I think she knew that. So anyway, I think she has good instincts as a filmmaker. So like, love to see her make another one. Hopefully it doesn't take 10 years.
Yeah, hopefully not. She's on a roll. She's all over this festival this year. So,
I mean, they want her to be all over this festival. It should see. All right, next film. I'm about to start a fucking war.
I know.
This is another Shu Qi movie.
Resurrection, directed by Bigan. The last time you heard from us, Eli loved this movie. Now Wilson has seen it, and I have seen it. I think this movie is not good.
Wow.
Let's fight.
So wait, that means that there has to be one movie that Ben, you and I both love and Wilson doesn't love. That we
It's
need
never
like
gonna happen.
a 3-part
It's
war
never gonna
on our
happen.
2025 in review.
I'm a lover, not a
I'm
hater.
always the contrarian. I don't know why.
I loved it. I loved it like Eli loved it. I found it very moving. I found it very funny. I found it very wacky. It's just incredible that Bigan is like able to do this. Like, I just feel like because I followed him from his like early days, right? When he's like making these like shoestring budget movies that are similarly like about dreamscapes and sort of like imagination and cinema as sort of this construct, and then him being able to do this on such a large scale and executing it, I think, really fucking well, and just sort of maintaining that same ideas or the same type of filmmaking and not really succumbing to, I don't know, what the industry wants of him, like still becoming this really singular filmmaker is incredible. And I thought the structure of it with the different stories through time, most of them worked for me, which I think is sort of in opposition to people who didn't like it. I feel like some sections worked and some sections didn't. Maybe all sections worked for me and they gelled together really well. So I'm very much in the bag for this movie. And I think, like, I don't know, I love movies, man. And this movie is like about cinema and in like some weird like Cloud Atlas fucking way. Like it's yeah.
Well, that's precisely what Ben in his Letterboxd review said he didn't like about Resurrection.
I don't like movies, guys. No, I'm kidding. The movie podcast. Anyway. Yeah, I think what I've been telling people like from the jump is that like that long take is great. He basically did a 12-hour long take and he was like, I'm going to put that into a 2-hour movie. That long take is great, but I think that long take tells you what Bigan cannot do because Bigan is really good at the long take. But when it comes to traditional editing and his homage to film, I don't think Bigan has the juice because
Disagreed.
I think all these other sections in which it's like more traditionally made, the writing is just not there. Like, it's just not interesting.
Wrong.
I feel.
Fake news. Hoax.
I just was bored.
No collusion.
I was bored. Like, and I just
Totally exonerated.
don't think I care, you know? And I think seeing that long take after like 4 sections, which were like, I was like, what is this? I'm like falling asleep. I'm like, what is this? And then like, oh, this is
Falling
good.
asleep? What are you talking about?
Ben always fucking
And I'm like,
asleep,
okay, the
though.
long take good, which kind of tells me that the other stuff isn't great. You know, like the delivery of information is just like not there. What are these stories really about? Like, are they about cinema? Are they just trying to tell a pithy thing? Like, I don't really know. This really just bounced straight off me until I locked in for that long take. I was like, okay, I like this part. And even the long take, I mean, on a technical level, of course, like fucking impeccable. I will say impeccable, insane feat of filmmaking.
It is.
But insane feat of filmmaking has never been the thing that has exonerated a movie for me.
I feel it's not just the flash of it, that there is genuine heart.
Yeah. But I think that's Last Story. It's good, but like it's also not that deep. And I think a lot of the people that are much more against this than I am, I think this is fine. Like if you enjoy movies, it's fine. I'm not that against it. I'm just very against it compared to you guys. But the people I know that like hate it are like, this has no substance. It's like pure, what can Bigan do? And I think I might not take that criticism fully, but I do see where they're coming from, because like then outside of the style, what is this movie really saying? Like about history, about cinema, about anything, you know?
But I just feel like as a society, as a film-going society, we used to value directors that were stylists above narrative storytellers. Like, there's just no room for that these days. And I would agree. Like, I would agree that there's, I guess, less meat on the bone narratively than there is stylistically. But I am a person that really values this in a movie. And if I feel like it's sort of like over-exceeding in style, it sort of leads to emotion, which I feel like narrative, like they both sort of like work together, right? But I was very bowled over by, I guess, the way this film was told, not just narratively, but like with filmmaking.
You must remember, I also think the parts that are not a long take are not well done stylistically. So then we got a problem.
Yeah, you do.
If the style is not passing the muster, then like, then you can't just be a stylist. There has to be substance there. And I think him trying to do this like cinema history thing, he's trying to do substance. Like, I think he's announcing himself. And then this conceptual 5 senses thing, like, I know it's just kind of like a structuring concept. But I'm like, okay, bro was trying something and it's not working for me. I mean, I can see people enjoying this. Sure, go enjoy this. I'm not telling you not to enjoy this. I think it is fun. Like, it has parts which are like kind of surprising that you might not see in other movies. But like, at the end of it, I was like, I'm going to forget about this movie. I won't forget the long take though, because I think it was pretty sick. Yeah.
I'm biting my tongue because so much of what Ben's saying, if you swapped out Resurrection with one battle after another, is precisely how I feel.
I'm like rolling my eyes so hard right now. This is ridiculous. It's my birthday in 6 fucking minutes. And this is what you're doing to me. Like, both of you are like, oh, punching bag. I'm a punching bag.
All right. Quickly. In this section called Other Asians, I watched Water by Deepa Mehta. So they did this kind of a retrospective on Deepa Mehta's work where they showed Fire, Earth, and Water. I've seen Fire before, I don't know when, which people love, which is a queer lesbian love story. Water is about a place in India or Sri Lanka, I'm actually not very sure, I'm realizing, and in which all the widows cannot take on other husbands, and they must kind of like suffer and not do anything, and nobody wants to touch them. And then they all like live in this like house of widows and then just kind of suffer. And there's a kind of love story in which one of these women, they're all supposed to shave their heads, but she has hair, and then she falls in love with a man who is like doesn't care about his rule. And the character that brings us into this is a young girl who's like maybe like 9 or like 7 years old, and she's a widow for some reason, and she's joined this house of widows. I was very confused about the context. It's like, are they widows, or is it like their parents don't want to take care of them, so they brand them as widows to get rid of them kind of situation? I think that might be the case, because another character who is older, much older, she's also like, oh, I was also your age when I became a widow. And obviously that makes no sense when you're like 7 or 6. And so she's like this feisty character, and she like kind of wreaks havoc in this house of widows. And there's this conflict in which none of them are supposed to even think about remarrying, and then this woman like falls in love with somebody, and how that kind of sort of tears the community slightly apart, but not completely. I think the film's good. Like, I think dramatically good, sort of Hollywoody, I would say, in terms of like dealing with a social realism problem. But I think because of that, it works. It it's fine. I think the romance is a little convenient. And my biggest kind of thing about it is that at the end of the day, the romance is really like he thinks she's hot, so he's into her. Like that's like my big criticism at the end of the day.
Yeah,
like,
she needs to have hair to be fallen in love with.
no, I mean, yeah, but that's not the main point. Like the hair is not the main point, but like she's like beautiful actress. Whereas like the rest of the House of Widows, aside from the child, is like kind of like shown as like they're much older, so like makes her stand out a lot. But like partially it's kind of like bros in love because she's hot. Which I don't know, kind of. I don't know, like I get it from like cinematically, like that works for me. Right? He's also a beautiful man. And you're like, oh, okay, I get it. But then like, like, are you woke or are you just horny? You know what I mean?
That's so funny.
And it's like, and partially I was like, wow, thinking about it, I was like, wow, how many films operate on this like because somebody is hot and therefore somebody does social good? Like, because that film, How Dare You, kind of operates on this. The kids kind of operates on that same level. Bro's like, oh, I got a crush on this girl. So he's like, okay, global warming.
Okay, global warming.
So it's kind of like, huh? And I'm like, maybe the filmic form has problems.
Well, I mean, this is like an extension of that problem of you can't make an anti-war film, right? Like film relies on the senses and sensation. Not that feeling good is automatically a sign that something is morally bad, but how do you add depth to it? And it sounds like Water maybe didn't successfully add depth to it.
But, you know, kind of enjoyed it. Had some like nice songs, actually. Like not Bollywood type, but like some like sung numbers. Looks great, actually. Film looks good.
You know why it's called Water?
Make me sway.
Not what I was thinking. Because you water fall in love with a widow.
Oh,
Make me
okay.
sway.
I like it.
I want to plug my friend's piece that he wrote on another of Deepa Mehta's films called Funny Boy. My friend Sakshan wrote a piece contextualizing the film and its production context. Because when they did this focus thing, they apparently Mehta really wanted to turn Funny Boy into like the central piece of this retrospective. But Funny Boy is made in a very weird context. I think you should read his piece to like understand it. It's kind of like some kind of Canadian co-production, but it's about Sri Lankans, about Tamil speaking Sri Lankans, but she casted 0 Tamil speaking Sri Lankans for the part.
Whoa.
And blamed the inability to find them in Canada. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe they don't make the movie because the movie is about like a queer relationship. So it's like one of the few like films about queer relationships in Sri Lanka. But then it's like, maybe make some effort and like this feels like exploitation. So, but apparently the movie's good. So I don't know, man. But like, I think it's like thinking about films. So you're gonna have this kind of like context.
You do.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just about the film sometimes. So that's Other Asias. I will now interrupt us to go.
Oh,
I'm looking at the clock too, Ben. I was waiting. I'm
10
waiting.
seconds. I was not. I was very into
10
your description
seconds.
of Deepa
10
Mehta's
seconds.
filmography.
Happy birthday to you.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to you.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, dear Wilson. Happy birthday to you and many more. Yay!
Thank you so much.
If you love Wilson as much as we do, you should subscribe to us on Instagram, Letterboxd, and wherever you find a podcast. Better still,
Yes.
subscribe to us on Patreon with a paid subscription. Right?
We're really using Wilson's birthday.
I love that we immediately went there. But please, yes, in order to make me a happy boy, a happy birthday boy,
A happy boy.
give us money on our Patreon.
Just 1 month, 2 months, you don't know. Maybe forget that you gave us money and like just let the subscription roll. I don't know. You know?
Thanks, guys.
Takes a village to do this episode.
Yes.
Like Wilson had to be born for this podcast to exist. So, you know.
I did.
You should comment happy birthday on every post on Instagram.
Oh, please
And
do.
if you listen this far, like I would love for you to send a happy birthday message on this episode on Spotify, Instagram, wherever the hell you find it.
yes,
Drop in the
please
Discord.
do.
You know, I'm going to post in the Discord right now with a picture of my screen and saying it's Wilson's birthday and we're recording.
This is the stuff that you get on Discord. You'll see this photo if you join the Discord right now. Go to deepcutpod.com.
That was one of our best plugs for ourselves.
Good job, man. Good job.
All right, we're moving on. Next part is my international films, not Asia. I'm going to talk about a big film. Sentimental Value, directed by Joachim Trier. This is a film about two characters. One's called Nick, one's called Judy, and they're like cops. And they are like a weird buddy cop thing. And then they are kind of a misfit couple. And then they're trying to uncover a huge conspiracy about what's happening in their town. That's kind of like modeled around like, I guess, New York. And they are trying to solve the problem of like, I guess, racism and like discrimination.
This is
Zootopia.
This is Zootopia.
And furries really like it.
Yeah, and so like, I mean, the central question of this film is like, are they gonna fuck? And also, one of them's a rabbit and one of them's a fox. Yeah, like that's the central question. Anyway,
dude, you had me. You had me for a good minute, bro.
Anyway,
my experience of that was so off because I was finishing the post on Discord and looked up and suddenly I was like, this isn't what Sentimental Value is about.
All right, so basically, I was in the rush queue for this and it did not get in. And then immediately, I was like, talking to my friend, I was like, bro, you want to watch Zootopia 2? And then we just immediately got tickets and watched Zootopia 2.
And I heard it's good.
It's okay. It's all right.
Okay. Two-topia was right there. They should have called it Two-topia.
No,
and then the third one they call Zootopia.
Zootopia.
Zootopia 2 is okay. It's making a shit ton of money right now. Thanks to SGIF, now like basically 2 extra tickets got bought because of it. Film's okay. Like a little too ADHD for my taste, but like I can see why people like it. And like this central tension of whether they're gonna fuck, like that's really in it. I'm gonna tell you. And like they really like keep kind of going towards the line. And I'm like, okay, there was a row of young kids that like at one point, like the fox goes like, I love you. And they're like, oh, ew. They're like freaking out. I was like, oh, this is so funny.
That's so good.
But movie moves so fast. That's like, oh my God, like you can barely understand the relationships really. And like people become best friends like that. And I'm like, okay.
That's kids' movies for you.
Yeah, it's too much. Like we need to slow kids' movies down.
Wait, while we're off SGIF, Ben, I saw Hamnet yesterday.
Oh.
I like it. Thought it was pretty good.
Oh.
I mean, Hamnet was in SGIF, by the way. I just didn't watch it again.
Oh.
You want to talk about Hamnet? We can talk about Hamnet.
Yeah, you can talk about Hamnet.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that Jessie Buckley is incredible. The sort of self-reflexive meta-narrative investigation of what is the fourth wall in film and theater and why is that emotionally an important question is really cool. Looks beautiful. And I found some of the details very emotionally effective. I think the sum of it doesn't quite pack a punch for me. Paul Mescal, actually, I found quite disappointing as Shakespeare. And I could have gone for less of him. But overall, I'm glad I saw it. And I thought it was good. And I think especially teaching Shakespeare, I was coming in a little more skeptical, like admittedly more skeptical than I wanted to. And it still worked on me, especially for the first half. Once Hamnet dies, it sort of abandons its subtlety in a way that I found annoying.
Because once he dies, like she has to make a point in a way.
Yeah, and characters start saying things super directly. It starts giving more access to Paul Mescal in ways that I didn't think were emotionally convincing.
A lot of people have said that Mescal is the weakest link in this.
Which is so odd, because I think about him in this versus in After Sun. And I think that the After Sun trick is that he's more of a cipher than they want William Shakespeare to be in Hamnet.
I would say I don't disagree, but I don't think it matters for me.
Yeah, that's
like,
fair.
I think the film works because I do kind of think Shakespeare in this is like such a side character. I'm not really thinking about Mescal that much.
I think he should have been even less. Like,
yeah, maybe possible.
The moment where he lost me was when he's at Hamnet's deathbed and he says, "My boy," and I was like, "Oh, I don't buy this at all."
Interesting. Oh, yeah, I can see that.
And what if that shot had just been shown from behind with Jessie Buckley noticing this odd reaction, not seeing his face? That I think could have, less Paul Mescal could have done the movie well.
Possible. I can see that criticism. Yeah. I mean, I think overall like the movie a lot. I do want to see it again to see whether like kind of it dips for me. I did kind of want to rewatch it during the festival, but I just didn't have time. And I was like, I'm tired, I'm sick during the festival. So I was like, let me just not do that.
You've been seeing so many movies.
You can rest now, Ben.
I've been resting. There were like 2 days in which I didn't watch any movies at a festival. One of them I was like, today I'm tapped out. The other one I watched Zootopia. So yeah.
So you still saw a movie.
He tapped in.
Yeah. Also, great bit. Patting myself in the
Yeah,
back.
really good.
I was really expecting it.
Moving on. Next film. Late Fame, directed by Ken Jones. This is a Willem Dafoe starring film with Greta Lee, a bunch of other people I don't know, about Willem Dafoe as a poet who is not very successful, but he writes this piece when he was like much younger, when he was 17. Now he's like maybe in his 50s. And a bunch of young people find his poems and they like say it's a masterpiece. So he achieves some little bit of late fame. I went to this because I listened to that New York Film Festival coverage from Bright Wall Dark Room, and they were really hot on this. Well, rather they enjoyed this.
They were.
And it was funny. Like, I think this film is pretty accessible, and it's kind of a stand-up of like pretty pretentious artistic types. You have this young group of people, they call themselves the Enthusiasm Society, and they're the ones who rediscovered Willem Dafoe's character and his poems, and then they're like kind of like gassing him up, and he kind of gets a bit seduced by late fame a little bit, and then kind of pushes away his friends who are like working class types, because he works in the post office. He's already like left poetry behind. And it's about this tension where he kind of like is kind of seduced by young people in that sense, who are like gassing him up.
Interesting.
I think the film's fun. And I think like if you like something like a bomb-back movie or like a talky type of movie, this might really land for you. I did enjoy this. I found this funny.
This is written by Sammy Birch.
Sammy Birch.
Right?
Oh.
Yes, writer of May December.
And Coyote versus Acme.
Yeah. I think this is well written, but I did really enjoy this. But I think because it's only 90 minutes, it feels a little bit too skeletal for me. Like, it ends the way you know it should end. And it just needs a little bit something extra to really be, like, I would say, good. But otherwise, I think it's fairly enjoyable. So, like, if this sounds interesting to you, then I think I would recommend it. Yeah, no, Dafoe's great. And Greta Lee plays this a bit like larger-than-life character who's an actress. I like Greta Lee a lot. And the other side characters are kind of like pretentious types, different types. And I'll also shout out, costume design in this is great. They're like pretentiously dressed. Unsung hero, like very simple costume design, like different types of pretension. And the working class people, quote unquote, like they're dressed obviously in that way. And like Willem Dafoe always kind of sticks out because he's kind of like dressed in like down jackets and stuff, like very like muted, compared to these like rich kids who want to revitalize the art world types. So there's a lot of storytelling in those costumes, I think. So for some reason, I noticed it on this film. Usually I don't notice it that much, but like, yeah, I saw it in this one. So yeah, that's Late Fame.
While we're talking about costumes, I've been thinking so much about this video you sent us, Ben, of Luca Guadagnino talking about costume design and how really great costume designers will design around the body rather than sort of the character. That is just such an interesting idea and many layered in his use of both body and character as
you
words.
know he's getting a lot of heat for that.
Really?
Really?
Because I think he also says something like devaluing the costume designers. Like, I think he sort of like says like, oh, costume designers don't do this. That's why Jonathan does such a good job with... He says something to like the effect of that. And in the comments, like a lot of costume designers have been calling him out and have been not happy about that. But you gotta like, dig into it more to like be like clarify more. But I think that, people are not happy.
Yeah. Maybe it sounds a bit like a blanket statement from him if you think about a full statement, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fair.
We'll link it in the show notes.
Yeah.
We're doing a lot of linking today.
You gotta remember.
Whoops.
Right. Moving on to another film with kind of great costumes, actually. Matador, directed by Pedro Almodovar. This is an early work from Almodovar. I believe it is restored, but I've heard this described as the first of like Almodovar's works in which he really starts like to amp up the stylistic aspects, the costume design, the color in his films. This is a film about so many things. In the classic Almodovar, like everything in the kitchen sink as well as the kitchen too. This is a film about a retired matador, a lawyer, and a young matador learning to be a matador from the retired matador. So basically what happens, the sort of inciting incident, the first thing you see is the woman who's the lawyer. She kills a man while fucking him. Okay? In a way that a matador would kill a bull.
Oh.
Well, we're introduced to the Matador teacher guy who is teaching these young people how to be a Matador and how to bullfight. The backstory, I guess, is that he is obsessed with killing and he misses the kill. And a little bit of a spoiler, but he is also responsible for murdering some young women. And basically what happens is that both killers, the woman is actually obsessed with him. And the film is about them kind of coming together. And then in the middle of this is the young Matador played by Antonio Banderas, who's super young in this, who is, the murders are pinned on him.
Oh.
And then he starts having weird fever dreams and stuff. And is also telepathic.
Yes.
Yes,
wait a minute.
Pedro.
Leave it to Almodovar.
And basically he takes the fall for these crimes he did not commit. And it's a lot about how these two killers are trying to fuck each other and and how he's in the middle of it. And this young person is in the middle of it, and the cops are trying to pin the killing on him and trying to find evidence. And he, some reason, because of his telepathy, knows where the bodies are, knows how he killed them, even though there's so much evidence that he didn't do it.
Fun.
So much going on. One of the most insane sex scenes ever.
You've said this is the second time you've said
Involving
this
electricity.
Yeah, it does not involve electricity. Insane climax to this climax. There's just so much going on here. There's a Letterboxd review that I read. It was in this, Antonio Banderas is telepathic and it's not important. It's actually not important that he has telepathy, but yeah. It's so much going on. It's a bit loose around the edges, but I think in typical maximalist Almodovar fashion, as long as you enjoy parts of this, it's kind of balls to the wall, dumb and weird and crazy, that there's something to enjoy. As long as you're into this. You might not be into this. I am into this. Not killing.
It does sound
murder.
really fun.
That's awesome. We really should dip our hand into Almodovar.
I think we should. We got to talk Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, Almodovar is great.
Voltaire.
I haven't seen
All by
that.
my mother. Oh.
And last on my international-ish list is Silent Friend, directed by Ildikó and Enyedi. This is the Tony Leung starring film about trees.
Yeah.
Apparently, it has turned Tony Leung into a huge lover of plants. And he now thinks all plants are sentient. I don't know what's going on.
Wow.
All right. I'm going to describe what this movie is. This movie is if you made a movie after dropping acid and looking at a tree and was wow, I love trees. That's what this movie is.
Yes. The Silent Friend.
It's a triptych story in which Tony Leung plays a researcher who doesn't research trees, okay? Very important. And during COVID, he gets stuck in this university. He's from Hong Kong, and he gets stuck in a university in Germany or something, where it's just him and some sort of superintendent of the campus, staying at the campus. And he starts really loving this ginkgo tree in the campus. And then begins to move into researching the ginkgo tree, and then starts essentially fan mailing a famous tree researcher played by Léa Seydoux. And so it is incredible watching Léa Seydoux and Tony Leung zooming each other and just talking about tree sperms and how to impregnate this ginkgo tree. It's hot. Okay. Just Léa Seydoux, Tony Leung zooming. Pretty incredible. Enough for the price of entry, okay? I didn't even know Seydoux was going to be in this. When she appeared, I was like, wait, what? I was like, what? And then Natalie was like, I don't even think they ever saw each other. I think they just performed to screen. Yeah, it's just Zoom, they never meet each other in person. But anyway.
And Enyedi, it looks has worked with Seydoux before.
Yeah. There's more to this. And then the triptych is that the tree connects them to different pasts. One is a black and white 16mm film
Resurrection
section.
I was thinking the same thing, Wilson.
In which a young woman in old German times is the first female student at the university. And what happens to her and a bit of the gender discrimination and how she learns to photograph things with a camera. And then the last one is about the 70s, shot on 16mm color. And then it's about him having a crush on a girl. And then the girl is a plant researcher with a plant in her room that she's making experiments on, and how he kind of gets a relationship or his relationship with her as well as his relationship with the plant. Because she's trying to figure out how you can communicate with plants.
You lost me. Sorry. You fully lost me.
I'm just nodding. Yes.
Like, but that's what I mean by like dropping acid and like looking at trees and like loving plants. This is this movie. I think my only criticism is that I think the other stories that are not the Tony Leung story kind of go nowhere. They don't end satisfyingly, which is a bit of a bummer. But the film has a great thing at the end where like during the credit sequence, there's one frame where it's like all the plants featured in this film and their scientific names.
Oh.
So very much Enyedi, a huge plant girl and just like loving plants and like wanting you to change your relationship with the natural world or something. So that's the ethos of the film. So I really kind of vibe with it as a whole because of that, of just like communing with nature and stuff. I would say it's kind of an acid trip of its own watching this film. I think that's kind of the point.
Ben, this is tangential, but just something that is one of my favorite art experiences I've had this year. At MoMA, there was an exhibit of Hilma af Klint's, a Swedish artist's paintings of flowers and generating symbols about their kind of energy or value as determined by her. Look some of these up. They're incredible. Okay, another thing to link. Hilma af Klint's art. This exhibit was one of my favorite exhibits I've seen in New York, and it sounds like it's of a similar ethos to this film.
Yeah, I mean, that's Silent Friend. Like, I don't really have much else to say. I think it'll be interesting thinking about the Tony Leung fans that like went to the screening just to see him, and they might not be art house cinema people. And I really wonder what they took from that. Because, I don't know, I feel like people did kind of enjoy it. Because there were parts where people like audibly reacting to some of the stuff that's happening.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, interesting. Like, I think this is actually working for people as a whole. And maybe not just the slow cinema fans.
And Tony never does international, like he doesn't never does international cinema. The last time he did like an international movie was like Shang-Chi. And that was like quite a while ago.
No, this is his first European film.
Wow.
Yeah, and basically he picks the film based on the directors that he gets to work with. And like I think he must be a fan of Enyedi's work. And one of her previous films is On Body and Soul, which is, I learned from you, Wilson,
Yeah.
according to Johnny To, one of the better movies that came out in the last decade.
Yes, I remember.
I wonder if there's a connection here. Right. If Johnny
my
To is saying this is the
God.
best movie of the last decade, that's saying a lot.
Yeah.
You know? Because that's a grumpy man.
That was incredible. Yeah, I do remember. I was like, why is that so familiar? Silent. I was like, and yeah, and I'm like, oh my God, it is. Yeah, I remember Johnny To said to my face. He said to my face.
I wonder, maybe like the Hong Kong people really like this movie and that's how Tony learned about it. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe like through the grapevine, and Yeti's something to watch out, somebody to watch for. So yeah, it's a little connection, a little deep cut scoop.
Deep cut scoop.
Exclusive.
All right, we're going to move on. So we're going to cap things off with Singapore/Southeast Asia because we're in Southeast Asia. I'm going to start with, I watched one shorts program. It was in the Southeast Asian shorts program. I'm not going to talk about all of them. I just want to talk about ones that I liked. This film program, the overarching theme was childhood and childhood experiences. I just want to shout out two. One's directed by my friend. So disclaimer, take it with a grain of salt. My friend, Grace Song, directed this film called Out of the Flower. She's been working on it for a very long time. She shot this way back in 2023. She finally finished it. Shot on 16mm film. Shot by my other friend, Sean Neo. Shout out as well.
Yeah,
Completely biased. But anyway, so this is a film about a young girl getting her first period. But honestly, watching it for the first time, you don't know that because she gets a period at the very end of the film. And Grace made this film to kind of honor that period of that moment in time of like receiving her first period. That for her, for her, it's like she said that personally it was like anticlimactic and she wanted to honor this like thing. But what's really, I think, the thing to sing out from the film is that the production design is like incredible. Like it's, the 16 definitely does a lot for this, but the clutteredness of the house and what you're seeing, the plants in this. This film is also about plants, by the way, Out of the Flower. Great segue from Silent Friend. And there's a central kind of like scene in which, because the father is missing and the mother's pregnant and she can't take care of the plants anymore because the plants are like the husband's plants. So they go to a plant doctor and they're like, what's up the plant? And she's like, the plant doctor is like, there's root rot. But there's a lot going on here. But I think it works because the visuals of it look good. But I think you can feel an arc even though the main character, this girl, is nonverbal. She doesn't speak at all during the film. And she is kind of like going through something. It's a little bit hazy and like, I think maybe I would have liked something a bit more clear, but it looks beautiful and like you can kind of feel this arc. And I haven't really seen that many films like this from Singaporean filmmakers. And Grace, who I've known for a long time now, I guess, and we always meet during the festival, she's kind of a spacey person, but I think in that spaciness in her head is like flowers and interesting images. And like, I hope she can keep making films that draw from that well of whatever. I don't know what's in her head sometimes.
That's so sweet.
Yeah. So that's Out of the Flower. The other one is the film that closes the program. It's called My Plastic Mother, directed by Ahmad Haikal. He's from Indonesia, from Jakarta. This film is about a place 10 kilometers out of Jakarta in which it's basically a huge landfill, but people live there. And so Haikal talked about how when he made the film, he was kind of joining two ideas. He wanted to make a documentary about this place in which people are literally living on a landfill. These are people like who are definitely like very, very poor, but so close to the city of Jakarta, where people like the consumerism of the world is just here. And a story about like a relationship with a mother that's a bit fraught. And so you kind of put those two together. So then it becomes a story about a young boy. And the conceit is that everybody needs to bring a little piece, like a dress, a sandal from their mother, and talk about its relationship to their mother. This child, his mother is gone. And so the film is about him digging through the trash, looking for something where he can pretend it's from his mother.
To bring to school.
To bring to school to kind of like do this show and tell. And at the end of it won me over because I was like, oh, this is a little bit miserable. But I think it's really sad. Like, and I'm just like, oh man, like this feels like a lot. But I think it kind of gets to a point where it does work for me because interspliced in the kind of proceedings, it has a sort of like slice of life quality, but interspliced is like other kids doing the presentation. Like, oh, this is my mom's dress, this is my mom's sandal. And like somehow his arc and the arc of that starts to coincide in a way that works for me. And he brought the boy that acted in this to the screening. And that boy comes from that town, from that place. And he said that all the other kids are from that place. And then when he made the film, he like really learned a lot about that place and like really wanted to like work with the people there and like kind of show you this place. And I thought that was really sweet. And like I thought that was a really good way of doing filmmaking where it's like you go to a place and the place affects you. So then that changes how you make the film.
This feels like it builds on our conversation from the Tokyo International Film Festival about remind me, it was a film about the Rohingya, right?
Yeah, Lost Land.
Yeah.
So that's the shorts that I wanted to shout out from this program that I saw. Next is a Singaporean film. It's called The Old Man and His Car, directed by Michael Kahn. This was also at the Tokyo International Film Festival, by the way. It premiered there. I didn't get to see it there, so I came home and saw it. This is a very low-budget feature film. It is Michael Kahn's first feature. Michael Kahn is actually a lecturer at one of the filmmaking places here, and he has been making short films for a long time. And I think the kind of backstory of this is that he had been working on a feature film way back when, but it just never took off. And then he just had never made a feature film. But then one day he like kind of connected with some students of his who decided to help him produce his first feature film at the age of 57. So I think just the existence of this, I love that feature filmmaking can begin at any age. And a lot of his students were in the crowd as well, supporting him. And they said the budget, this is a $50,000 feature.
Wow.
They got like the producers, who are a couple, by the way, they got their friends and like their family to help out on the film. They used their own house, their own apartment for the film. This is a film about a man and his car, and that's really all it is. I think the biggest expense was trying to get this car, and I think they got it from some guy that owned the car, and I don't think he maybe even charged them any money or like charged them very little to rent the car. Because the car is like a very old school, classic champagne gold Mercedes. So the plot of the film is that this old man, played by local acting legend Lim Kay Tong, whose wife has passed away, and he has two older children, and he's like really loves his car. And he's about to sell his car to move to Canada or something to be with his son. I would say the film is, once again, almost good. It's very short. It's like 90 minutes. And it doesn't really have a story, I would say. Like what I just told you is the whole story. But what it really is that it's kind of about old people. Because like he like goes around, he talks to his friend, played by Richard Loh, who's another local acting legend, who mostly is like Chinese like programs. And like they speak in this like kind of like mix of like he's speaking English and then like his friend is like speaking like Hokkien plus some English, some Malay, some Chinese, some Mandarin, but they're like still being able to communicate. And these characters give you a sense of the kind of Singapore that they remember. And I think that nostalgia really worked for me as a Singaporean. And I think it captures a memory of a time rather than the time itself, because it's like old people reminiscing about the past. Like you can see some low budget stuff like when they exit a hospital because they are just visiting their friend who has dementia, but they talk about it, but you never see the friend and you never see the inside of the hospital. And I completely forgive it because it's like working on this like micro budget. $50,000 is no money for a feature film.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of people worked on this for free as a favor, blah, 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 which not the best, but like when everybody's doing it for nothing, it's okay to some extent maybe. And I think at least the ethos of making it, I think feels pleasant and like really thankful for all the people that helped them make this film for so little money. And another key character is that he basically starts connecting with a potential buyer of his car, played by a transgender woman. And this is also, I think, like a critical piece of this, because actually they don't really talk about her as her identity. And if you come into this film not knowing that, you might not realize that that is her identity. And they just kind of like connect. And there's one moment in which she talks about the past in this place called Bugis Street, where she reminisces about like hanging out with the sailors at that time, which is true, part of history, but also references another movie called Bugis Street, which shows you that history. It was like a queer film about transgender people in that time in like, I think the 80s or the 90s. So I think it kind of positions all these things as like memories of Singapore. And I think just having this character that's transgender like gives you a sense that they also participate in history, because a lot of like Singaporean films can be very Chinese. This actress is also not Chinese. Can be very Chinese, can be very like heteronormative, can be very like, I don't know, like certain ways in which like you imagine prototypical Singapore. So I think this one has a little bit that's a little bit not so prototypical Singapore, although it has elements of prototypical Singapore as well. And so it kind of creates this blend that's kind of like, I think as a nostalgia piece works, and maybe it's too much into its own nostalgia, but I think forgive it for that, because like we only get so much cinema from Singapore every year.
Yeah.
And like, I don't mind this. And of course, Michael Kam is from this generation, like he's almost 60. And this is also his memories. And I think there's an authenticity to a lot of what's coming up from the screen here. And honestly, film looks good. Like, I think it looks fine. Like, I don't see it looking $50,000. I think my only like gripe is like a lot of scenes in cars, talking in cars. I just wish they were filmed differently. A lot of like rigged shots. I want something handheld in there, something a little bumpier, something a bit more fluid, something a bit more organic. Like a lot of just locked off, rigged shots in cars. Maybe the easiest way to shoot this, but maybe not the most interesting. But I forgive it. But yeah, I liked it. I enjoyed it. Oh man, it's car. We're getting into the home stretch here. This is going to be a very long episode, unfortunately, because of my rant.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah. I'm going to talk about Amoeba, directed by Siyou. I'm going to tread very carefully. Siyou's my friend. She went to the same university as us.
Yep, she did.
This film is very okay. It pains me to say it, but like this film is not as good as what it seems. And I'm just struggling with it. And I've had a lot of conversations with people about this film. And all the people I've met, general consensus is that it's a little weak. And I think my main gripe is the writing and the acting in this. There's a lot in here that doesn't work. Something about it rings quite false. So the film is about 4 girls in a girls' school in Singapore that's very strict. And they decide that they want to form a legitimate like gang. That's how they kind of do this like rebellion, because they hate their strict teacher. And there's a bit of a allegory of like the strict the strict school is an allegory for like the state. I think a lot of people respond well to this movie because of its premise about rebelling against authority, about rebelling against the state, about rebelling against school.
Yeah. Feels very happy end-esque.
A little bit, yes. But when you make that comparison, then it's a bit like, yeah. If you put these two films side by side, I think Amoeba does not really hold its own, because I think its criticism of the state is very thin. And what I've been saying is that the rebellion by the kids, the teenagers, is quite juvenile, which is fine because they're teenagers. They're young teenagers. They're like 16 years old, 15 years old maybe. So it's fine. But I think the film's positioning is also somewhat immature. Because I think wholesale agrees with these kids and their rebellion, but their rebellion feels very hollow, in which their main gripe is that they hate their teacher. But then that suddenly leads to them saying that they live in a world in which they cannot kind of like be themselves and blah, blah, blah. And then that feels more like the filmmaker trying to say something about Singapore rather than like authentically what the characters should be feeling as teenagers. And so that really, I don't know, like it doesn't work for me. Something that I've been asking myself a lot is like when I talk to people, I was like, is it because I'm a man? I'm like, yeah, maybe. Because like I think a lot of people that respond really well to this are people that have been in all girls schools and have had similar like strict experiences. So I don't want to deny your relation to that, but I do feel like the storytelling is a little weak in terms of that. Because I think this is a film that also, I believe, if it had a plot, because they form a gang, but they don't have a goal. They don't like go do something. There isn't like a scheme or like there isn't something that they do. They just kind of like we four of us are misfits, so we're going to get together and be a gang. And then that's kind of it. And then after that, they just kind of do some stuff. And then like there's a little interpersonal conflict. And I also think that they need to have more ideological conflict between all four of them. Because four kids have four different ideas of rebellion. You need something to happen. But then it feels so much like, oh, we're all in agreement. The state sucks. But I'm like, that's a little bit one-dimensional as criticism. And I think that doesn't work. Because the moment I'm like, oh, okay, so what? A lot of this falls apart. I mean, it pains me to say all this because like, I know so many people that worked on this, you know? And if you like this, don't listen to me, right? People are really looking forward to watching this when it comes out.
Yeah, me too.
In the big screen. So if it comes out, please go watch it. Form your own opinion.
Yeah,
right?
Support local cinema as well. Like it's like, yeah, watch it.
Yeah. So I would love to hear other people's takes on this and whether it works or not. Like I literally just had a conversation with somebody who really didn't enjoy it. She did also go to the girls' school. So we talked about that as well. For me, this film also kind of makes me think about like script development labs and stuff that like are cooking films from different regions. And then you send your film to all these like European script labs and then like it goes through so many eyes and ears that don't understand our context maybe, that like you might not get the right tinkering that the script needs to like actually be authentic to our country. One of my pet peeves is also that the mix of English and Chinese use in this is a bit question mark. Like that mix doesn't feel right.
Like not authentic?
Compared to like the previous film I talked about. Yeah, like Old Man in His Car feels right. But here it's like the students, when they switch from Chinese to English, it feels very weird and stilted. Like suddenly they start switching and it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel organic. And I think it's because these four actresses do not speak that way themselves. And I think you can tell. They can definitely speak very proper Chinese. They can definitely speak very proper English. But they're not people that naturally speak these two together in a sort of like more local pidgin English way that we might do. Like I don't do that. So if I try and play that character, it's going to be very difficult. I will drop a la here and there, but like very little, especially when I'm talking to you guys. So I think there's something here that's like, okay, if you want to get these characters, I think you might have to street cast some like legitimate kids who will speak that way to lend this authenticity.
And these were like actresses. They're not
more
like,
actresses, yeah.
Okay.
Like two of them are from theater, two of them are from like screen acting, more experience. So these things are important. You know, authenticity, one of my big things, that I need to feel like your film is real or that the characters are real. And I think if you don't have that, like, and I feel bad saying this, but I think you need support from a production team that knows that this is important, like, and to give you this guidance. And I don't know. Well, I can't believe I'm saying all these things on mic, crazy on the record, but yeah, that's just my honest opinion. And like, I've been saying this to a lot of people, which is why I'm saying this, which is that I think we need to be honest about each other's work in Singapore. I know the community is small, but I think if we're not honest in a kind way, we will not go anywhere with our like local filmmaking. We need to really be willing to stick our necks out and say what we actually feel, whether it's about film, about festival, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, anyway. Now let's see what Siyou does next. I'm sure she's working on something. That's Amoeba.
Okay, on to the final film.
Final film, finally. Oh my God. It's been 2 hours of us recording. Ridiculous. Talking so much. Final film, which I watched today, also the last one I saw during festival, A Useful Ghost, directed by Ratchapoom, Boonbunchachoke. This is a film about a vacuum cleaner. Anyway, this is a film about a... Well, it's actually so difficult to describe. Hold on.
Giving him a moment. Loading.
He has to think about his entire life before he performs.
This is a film about a woman who has passed away and her husband is still thinking about her. So she's a ghost who possesses a vacuum cleaner to try and like visit him and like wants to be with him. And it's sort of a film about people not accepting the relationship between a man and a ghost possessing a vacuum cleaner. The way that she tries to convince them that she can be with him is that she is useful, that she's productive.
Oh.
Yeah. It's very difficult to describe because what I just described is this, but there's also a frame story around this in which a character called the academic ladyboy
Yes.
has a conversation with a visitor who tells him this story that I'm telling you
Oh.
about. Because this visitor is trying to fix his vacuum cleaner that he thinks is possessed. And so he tells him a story about ghosts possessing other appliances at a factory.
Yes.
I'm into this idea.
This is opening like in January in New York City. Like everyone, like you should, go watch
This is worth
it.
checking out. I enjoyed this. This is a Deadpan art housey take, but I will drop you one nugget from my interview with Ratchapoom this evening.
Please.
Wait.
He said that when he was talking to his like production designers, his DPs and everything, he said he wanted to make a film that was either elegantly perverted or pervertedly elegant.
Good, good. I'm sold.
Okay?
I'm
This is a
sold.
film about trying to jam like the serious and the unserious together. And I think he does strike a good balance. That he's trying to make something that's a little silly, but also serious, and a little serious, but also silly.
That's my vibe.
Yeah. There's ghost sex in this.
Yes.
Okay. This is also a very queer film, right? I already talked about academic ladyboy. And his first thing is that like he thinks of this ghost story that is actually sort of inspired by what he calls the most famous Thai ghost story, which is about a woman who is with a man, but then she's already dead, basically. Like that's kind of like the gist of it. And then he kind of discovers she's dead much later, like she's a ghost. And how he thinks there's a queer reading to like the non-acceptance of a ghost and a human being together in the same way that like, say two men cannot be together. There's like a queer reading there. But I think what's interesting is that I think he starts from this nugget and he just goes on a few different directions in a thematic chain that I think feels crazy, but all feel like they make sense in this.
The other question that I hear hovering in here is like, what makes for a good partner in general? Like, is it just utility? Are we reducing ourselves to a product in the name of making ourselves attractive to another person? Or is there some innate individuality that goes beyond just the virtuousness of an object like a vacuum cleaner?
And it's also like, it kind of goes in political territory where it's like the acceptance of your partner from like different communities, your family, your home business, Buddhism. It goes in like quite a few different directions with this. With a very deadpan style. I'm not usually one to go for deadpan things. I think it works okay for me. Like, it's not my favorite thing, this style, but I still understood it and I took it and it's funny. But if that's more of your cup of tea, then I think this will really work gangbusters for you.
Yeah.
Mm.
I'm very excited for this.
Pretty interesting territory.
Gangbusters and Ghostbusters.
Intelligent territory in trying to investigate this like core idea that begins from this idea of like a ghost being useful. He says this in all his Q&As. He says this in our interview, which is that he was just imagining, oh wow, it's like in our world now where it's so difficult that even the dead need to make a living. Ratchapoom's very funny. Like he says very funny things. Like,
Madame Morrible flipping around, wicked witch.
Wait, I've been seeing people do that gesture and I have no clue what it means.
he just explained it.
Have you not seen the videos?
No.
He just did it.
Oh my
he
God.
just explained it.
I saw you do it and you said the words, but I don't comprehend it.
So Michelle Yeoh on the Wicked for Good press tour is doing a Lady Gaga 100 people in the room type thing by repeating Madame Morrible flipping around, wicked witch to every interviewer that she comes into contact with. And there's like a compilation of it. I will link it in the episode notes.
So irrelevant.
Another thing to link.
So irrelevant to everything right now. Anyway,
Sorry.
Okay, I still don't really understand.
not to
but
digress
fine.
from a useful ghost, I think one of the highlights of the festival, in terms of like also great first feature film debut, like well made,
Oh,
interesting ideas, and I think
so great.
also looks great. And like he's like doing all this stuff that like usually people who are making serious films would not use, like a dissolve that wipes, a iris wipe, like all this like fun stuff. Like it's like doing dream stuff. It's a little weird, good costume design, weird stuff, and like. They got someone to design the vacuum in this.
Wow.
And the name of this model is Soft Obedience.
I like that.
Yeah, because it's like bowing, because she's trying to obey her like family and do stuff for them. and be useful anyway. There's a lot more going on here. Like, I'm really like scratching the surface of what the movie's trying to say. It gets political. It like name drops specific incidents in Thailand. I don't want to talk about it, but like it name drops them and it's not contained to one thing.
Wow.
And
wow.
Ratchapoom kind of goes a bit more into this in our interview. So if you watch the film, you should listen to that interview that will be coming out very soon after this episode comes out.
Yeah.
And I think that gives more context to his like filmmaking process, the way he approaches things, what he likes, his taste. Very like he dropped some names. I was like, I do not know anything you just said.
Wow.
Like, so I think like clearly a person with a point of view and like an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, is Madame Mora the name of Michelle Yeoh's character in...
It's Madame Morrible. Sorry, it's Madame Morrible. That's her
Morrible?
character in Wicked.
Okay.
All right.
You're so under a rock, Eli.
Clearly.
Yes. He knows about the Singapore International Film Festival.
but not about Wicked.
Yeah.
Do you hear about the fan that tried to like grab Ariana Grande in Singapore?
Why?
And then
No.
he got banned. It was actually really bad.
It's awful.
And
It's
maybe
pretty
I was
bad.
like thinking about that as well because you were talking about mismanagement and security. And I was like, yeah, another bad thing happened in Singapore recently.
Events management here is pretty poor. The marathon, Standard Chartered Marathon just happened. People are complaining about that too. Yeah, I mean, come on, guys. Get our shit together.
But you guys throw a good military parade.
Singaporeans are capable. It's just that we need to know what the point of everything that we do is. Because if you don't have a good point, you're not going to do it well. You need to know what's the point. People are complaining at the end of the marathon that they couldn't get water.
Stupid. That's ridiculous,
And then like people got stuck
man.
at the end of the marathon, like packed as sardines and they couldn't leave. People are shouting medic. It's crazy.
Oh my
You
God.
can't do that to people. As someone who just ran a marathon, you cannot do that to people. You cannot do that to people after they ran fucking 42 kilometers. You cannot.
So apparently that's always a shit show. So like, I don't know. Like maybe this podcast, we're just going to shit about everything that happens in Singapore. We did see like, we were like, the security is really amped up for Tony Leung here. Like kind of looked a little amped up. I was like, all right, maybe there was like, we cannot have that happen.
Yeah.
But thank God, guys, let's get our shit together.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on here. How do I close this?
Yeah. Any last thoughts? Yeah.
If you got to the end of this and you listened to all of this, good job. Can't believe you've done that. I really enjoyed this. And like, final thoughts is like, I mean, generally, I'm optimistic about the festival. Like, I think this year has been pretty disappointing for films in general. So the film program was like, okay for me. Like, I didn't really love everything, but I did like mostly what I saw. And I think I missed a few gems. Right? I didn't watch the prize winner for the Asian feature film competition called Always. And I didn't watch like My Father's Shadow, which like people seem to really like. So some of these like hits that I kind of missed out on. So maybe there's some other things. So if you like these films, you should like talk about them somewhere. Maybe you can comment on an episode or like DM us. I don't know.
Or share this episode to everyone you know.
Find an outlet to talk about it. So I think for Singapore, we need to encourage more dialogue, more conversation, whether it's like writing about films or just like talking to somebody in person about a film.
Like the lounge space that Sasha organized.
Yeah, whatever it's lounge space, or just like at a screening, especially if you're AFA or Objectives or an SFS screening, you will see a lot of people multiple times. And I think we need to try and cultivate just like becoming friends with each other, which seems so ridiculous saying out of my mouth. And if you are listening to this and you're a young cinephile and you want to get to know more people in this space and you're like, have no idea how, and you're listening to this podcast and you're like, I want to be friends with Ben, DM me.
Join the Discord.
I mean, the Discord is one thing. I think people need to do more in-person things. So like you can DM me and like I can try and at least like introduce you to more like what's happening, at least with screenings and stuff. Or like if you just want me to like recommend films to you, I can do that too.
Folks, his DMs are open. His DMs
Slide
are
into his
open.
DMs.
Like I think people are scared. I met somebody that was like too shy to talk to me at the lounge. I was like, oh, then I started talking to her. I was like, yeah. I was like, and she was like, yeah, listen to the podcast. I was like, yeah, it's chill. We can be friends. You know what I mean?
Wow, shout out to Singapore and our listeners in Singapore.
Yeah.
Y'all are great. Yeah,
I mean, actually, this year, I think like the Singaporean listenership really like went up.
it did.
Got to number 5 on our Spotify Wrapped.
Yeah, you did.
In terms of audience demographics. I think with the closing of certain cinemas and stuff like that, I think a lot of people are like starting to do more stuff next year. So I think 2026 will be quite an interesting year for our cinema going culture with a few new initiatives coming up in terms of like venues to watch stuff. I'm tentatively curious, optimistic, cautiously about these things, and hope that they have some longevity, hope that it's not just like temporary. I think the most important thing that they can't take away from us is the people that we know and like the friends that we make.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without the cinema, we still have each other. There's that.
The real movies are the friends we made along the way.
Yeah. It sounds so cheesy, but it's actually true.
Yeah,
You know?
It is.
No, I agree.
That's this year's Singapore International Film Festival. Thanks to the team anyway for the Singfall Pass. I do appreciate it anyway. I did save a lot of money. And honestly, also for helping me to organize the interview. Like, I did have help from the team as well.
Well, we reached out first. So we secured this interview.
I'm more diplomatic than Wilson.
I mean, I'm not Singaporean. I could go off from an outsider's perspective. It looked like it was a shit show. It was a shit show. So we can leave it at
Wilson's
that. You can
drunk.
close it. I'm not drunk anymore. I'm relatively sober now.
This episode saw Wilson's birthday and saw him sober up in real time.
Yeah, sorry if I was like quiet today.
He sobered up in 1 year.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Any last questions?
No.
Shout out to all my friends from the festival that I've been chatting with. It's been a great festival, regardless of what's happening in the festival, regardless of the mess. I love everyone that I talk to. And it's just fun to kind of just like run into people on the street at screenings that maybe I might not have seen for the rest of the year and like remember some familiar faces.
Yeah.
Nice.
And like meet new people. Like I met new people this year. I met people that I met last year. So I think as long as like we just keep showing up, regardless of how well the festival is, we can criticize it. We can say whatever we want. We can say it's good. We can say it's bad. But like as long as we just keep showing up, we are supporting the festival. We're supporting each other. We're supporting this thing that we love. That's all that we need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is the bare minimum. And the bare minimum is also sometimes enough.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Deep Cut. If you enjoyed this extremely long episode, please rate and subscribe to us wherever you listen to podcasts to help others discover the show. A great way to support us is leave a review or comment on episodes directly on Spotify. Leave Wilson a birthday message. Please. If you want to chat with us and other fans of Deep Cut, or also leave Wilson a birthday message on our Discord server, you can come join the server where we talk about movies, TV, music, and share what we're up to, like Wilson's birthday.
Yay.
Yeah.
We also have a Patreon. If you'd like to support us with a monthly subscription, we really appreciate it. Thank you to all Patreon supporters, and a very special thanks to our Patreon Deep Cut Pick supporters, Leah Lai and Nicholas Gao. Once again, you want to give Wilson a tip for his birthday, come to our Patreon. You can keep up with Deep Cut on Instagram, Letterboxd, and X at Deep Cut Pod. Click the link in the description or go to deepcutpod.com to find links to everything we've mentioned here. Deep Cut is hosted and produced by us, Wilson Lai, Benjamin Yap, and Eli Sands. Our cover art is designed by Justina Yam, and our theme song is composed by Eli Sands.
I'm Wilson.
I'm Ben.
I'm Eli. Happy birthday, Wilson.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Take care, and we're looking forward to talking about more movies with you next time. I need to add one more thing for a useful ghost. Like, good ghost sex, but. He really could have just fucked the vacuum cleaner, but there isn't that scene. Guys, come on.
No.
It's right there.
It's true.
I mean, vacuums do have two settings, suck and blow.
Or maybe, as I was saying with my friend, he could have gotten pegged by the vacuum cleaner too. Possible. It was right there. Missed opportunity. That's all, folks.
DACA to star.
Pegged by a vacuum cleaner.
Oh my God.